Welcome to this explainer. Have you ever wondered what happens when the galaxy's absolute greatest underdog is hiding the ultimate, terrifying secret? Today, we're exploring a deeply fascinating narrative about survival, ancient deception, and the incredibly heavy burden of guardianship. It's a story where humanity isn't the loudest voice in the room, but rather the quietest, and ultimately, the deadliest. It's really a masterclass in long-term strategy that completely flips the script on how we view a species' place in the cosmos. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The galaxy's favorite joke, a 3,000-year mockery. To really grasp the magnitude of this story, we've got to start with how humanity was perceived. For 3,000 years, humanity was, quite literally, a joke. Imagine this massive galactic council populated by incredibly advanced godlike civilizations, and then there's Earth. Humans were just seen as this young, primitive species living on a tiny blue marble near the absolute edge of the galaxy. We had no sprawling interstellar empire, no ancient world-shattering tech, no massive fleets darkening the stars. The mighty empires of the Council hurled insults at us, calling humans emotional and uncivilized. But humanity's response to all this mockery? Absolute, focused silence. We never argued, never protested. We just kept building, learning, preparing. And for 3 entire millennia, absolutely nobody understood why we were so incredibly quiet. Section 2. The harvest has begun. The stars disappear. Because everything changed on a single day. A terrifying, totally unknown signal suddenly breaches deep intergalactic space. At first, the brightest minds in the galaxy just brushed it off. Just a weird natural phenomenon, right? But then the unthinkable happens. Entire star systems start disappearing. Not destroyed, completely gone. Millions of stars literally vanishing from the night sky like they never even existed. Panic spreads like wildfire. The Council immediately dispatches their fleets to investigate, and none of them come back. Weeks later, just one heavily damaged scout ship limps back from the dark, carrying this final impossible recording. And what they captured wasn't a fleet of thousands or even millions. It was billions, an endless, impossible armada of black machines stretching infinitely out into the dark. And their hulls were covered entirely in these ancient, unrecognizable symbols. When the Galactic Council finally cracked the translation for those ancient symbols, the message terrified absolutely everyone. It simply read, "The harvest has begun." And within months, these black machines reached the outer colonies, and total devastation followed. Those mighty empires that used to rule the galaxy with an iron fist, completely helpless. Their vaunted planet-killer weapons? Failed. Massive energy shields? Failed. Ancient planetary defenses? Completely failed. Absolutely nothing could stop the machines. One by one, worlds just fell to the harvest. Section 3. Humanity's ancient secret. The forgotten record. Now, what's really interesting about this is the moment of sheer, paralyzed terror that follows. The Galactic Council calls an emergency session. For the first time in recorded history, literally every single species attends. The room is just suffocating with fear, and nobody has a plan. Then, the silence breaks. This elderly alien scientist slowly stands up, his hands shaking, looks at the council leader, and says, "We overlooked something." He steps up, activates this ancient, dusty star map, and unseals a forgotten record that is thousands of years old. It describes a mysterious species that had actually fought these harvesters in the distant past, a species that nearly wiped them out, and was so insanely dangerous they forced the machines to retreat entirely beyond the galaxy. The scientist looks around this terrified room and drops a single word that stuns them all: humans. At first, the council thought it was some kind of desperate joke, but the historical timeline was completely undeniable. Tens of thousands of years ago, humanity's ancestors fought the First War, eventually forcing the great retreat of the machines. But here is the crazy part. Humanity intentionally erased all records of their own victory. Why would they do that? To prevent mass panic across the galaxy, and to make sure no future enemies ever came looking for their devastating ancient weapons. So, for millennia, they chose to play the fool. They chose to look weak while secretly preparing. So naturally, the desperate council immediately sends a delegation straight to Earth. They are expecting to find a world in absolute chaos, a society just crumbling in fear. But instead, they find this chilling, eerie calm. Human cities are operating completely normally. Children are playing in the parks. People are just commuting to work. Nobody is afraid in the slightest. The alien ambassadors are utterly confused. They're asking, do you know the galaxy is literally dying right now? Why aren't you evacuating? And the human representative just looks at these panicked alien ambassadors, gives a calm little smile, and delivers the turning point of this entire story. Because we've been preparing for their return. Section 4, Awakening the World Ship. Right after that chilling statement, the ambassadors get a front row seat to exactly what humanity had been doing during those 3,000 years of silence. They're taken deep beneath Earth's surface, far below the deepest oceans, way past the continental crust, down into the very belly of the planet. And what they discover down there absolutely defies comprehension. Hidden right beneath our feet were massive, sprawling shipyards, dormant, ancient weapons of just unimaginable power, planet-sized engines built directly into the mantle, entire colossal fleets just sleeping silently in the dark. The aliens just stare in absolute disbelief as the terrifying truth hits them. Earth was never just a planet. It was a colossal fortress, a literal war machine. It was a giant trap, quietly waiting thousands of years to finally be sprung. Just days later, the Harvester Armada finally reaches the edge of the solar system, literally blocking out entire constellations. The Galactic Council is watching on a live feed, bracing for Earth's destruction. But instead, the planet itself physically transforms. Step 1, gigantic mega-engines breach the surface of the oceans. Step 2, the actual continents shift and lock together into impenetrable armor. Step 3, those ancient weapons rise from their hidden chambers. Right before their eyes, Earth becomes a colossal world ship. And this brilliantly illustrates humanity's ultimate rock-solid confidence in the face of an apocalyptic threat. With billions of machine ships advancing, humanity opens a transmission. The entire galaxy is watching, jaws on the floor, suddenly realizing they had spent centuries mocking a sleeping giant. And humanity directs their message squarely at the swarm. Just 2 words. Welcome back. Section 5. The Silent Guardians. The battle that kicks off is unlike anything the universe has ever seen. The Harvesters attack instantly. They unleash these terrifying energy beams across the void, packing enough concentrated firepower to wipe out thousands of planets. But Earth doesn't even flinch. Its ancient shields just effortlessly absorb every single strike. Not one human city is harmed. The fortress holds perfectly, and then humanity fires back. Exactly 1 shot. Just 1 single beam of blinding blue light crosses millions of kilometers of space in a fraction of a second. 10 million machine ships vanish instantly, vaporized. The entire galaxy erupts in shock. The impossible is happening right in front of them. The unstoppable harvesters, the literal destroyers of star systems, are losing. For 7 days, war absolutely consumes the stars. Hidden human fleets and secret defenses wake up all across the galaxy, executing strategies that were planned out centuries in advance. Then, on the 8th day, we hit the climax. The machine leader, this colossal artificial intelligence, literally the size of a moon, shows up. Its voice just booms across thousands of systems, demanding, "Why do you resist?" And humanity's response? It isn't some grand speech about glory or conquering the universe. Their deeply grounded answer is simply, because this galaxy is our home. Furious, the AI leader unleashes its ultimate weapon, a blast meant to wipe out entire sectors of space. But humanity counters with something far, far older. They activate the Genesis engine. This is an ancient device hidden deep inside Earth's core since the First War, capable of twisting space and literally bending stars. When they turn it on, reality itself shakes. A brilliant flash completely consumes the battlefield, and when that light finally fades, the machine armada is gone. Every single ship, every weapon, every trace. Completely destroyed. Forever. The galaxy was saved, and it ushered in a completely new reality. I mean, celebrations lasted for months. The exact same worlds that had mocked humanity for 3,000 years were suddenly building massive monuments in our honor. Histories were entirely rewritten, because the truth was finally known. Humans were never weak. We were the silent guardians, the protectors who chose to stand watch in the dark while everyone else slept peacefully. And when the council nervously asked what we would do next, humanity simply said we'd keep watching. Because we know another threat will eventually come. This whole story is an absolute masterclass in the long game of survival. It shows us that true strength really doesn't need to boast, and the most dedicated guardians are often the ones you never even hear from until you need them the most. So, I want to leave you with this haunting, thought provoking question to ponder long after this explainer ends. If the ultimate threat arrived tomorrow, what would you be willing to sacrifice to protect your home? Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible narrative, and as always, keep seeking the deeper story.